Will Moffat, 121 Heath Street. I'm going to begin uncharacteristic and be positive. I want to commend the city for its recent efforts in dealing with traumatized youth. I know recently they'd applied for a Bloomberg grant that did not go through, but despite that, over the past year there's been a lot of effort from the leadership to try to address a lot of these issues. I know Hartford Police Department has a juvenile specialist who's been doing a lot of work. That considered, there is a very troubling issue going on in the state as far as the dialogue with youth stealing vehicles has gone. Despite the fact that vehicle thefts have gone down over the past few years, the amount of high-profile incidents of urban youth stealing cars from the suburbs has increased. I recall actually a few years ago I went to a ComStat meeting and I saw HPD was already aware of this because there had been a state mandate from the state attorney's office to try to crack down on these issues. So many gangland units throughout the state have been particularly targeting cars. Now many of these cars were stolen. Over the past few years, many youths, I think the number's around 20 at this point, mainly black and brown, have been killed by police officers. Many of the excuses have been, well, the car was running right toward us. At the end of the day, these have been chases that police officers have escalated. Just this last Saturday, a stolen car was involved in an accident. The drivers weren't hurt, but a 44-year-old Hartford resident was. I know this is very, very complicated, and there's a lot of blame all around. But arresting these youths will do nothing to stop it. The reason why I have a dislike for the police is not because of the police themselves. These are good people trying to do their best. It is because of the often cruel and inequitable laws they have to enforce. It is because they are the gatekeepers to prison, and prison is evil. State of Connecticut's prisons in particular are systematically broken. You've seen all the stories about the health care that's been broken, prisoners dying, even our juvenile detention centers. I recently saw Sarah Egan from the Office of the Child Advocate gave a report. She, last year, went to some of these juvenile centers. These kids are still being put into solitary confinement. They don't quite call it that, but they are still being isolated and tortured. And we have people now who are talking about charging these kids as adults and putting these kids into these prisons. This will not solve it. It might make people feel okay. It might scare a few people away and the people in the suburbs can feel a little safer, but it will be permanently damaging these kids. They will never go out of this. And I know the city is doing its best to subvert that, but I feel like we need to speak out against the state trend because I'm very worried. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Moffat.